Alright. Welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. In the last stream, we became a noble, came back home. Things are kind of getting out of hand as far as the claim of power between the two lots. And we are now a full-fledged judge. So that's exciting. We have a job now. We actually have an occupation page here. Career in ruins, dangerous position. Ah, interesting. Tyranny of the noble. What? Tyranny of the nobles. Oh, I've joined the tyranny of the nobles, I think. That's what that means. Oh. Something tells me I can't balance the... If I go high on one, the other one's going to go very low. Huh. Interesting. Will my other stats raise, or are they... Is this just my personality from here on out? I don't know. I still have one lesser death that I can spare, so that's good, but I think the possibility of true death is also a possibility. Yep, true death is indeed a possibility in this chapter, so gotta watch out for that. Let's get into it. Also, this is like one of my more like consistently more average viewed videos, streams. I don't know if that's because of the streaming part of it, or if it's due to the due that people are just interested in this game. I don't know. I'm happy for it. Neversong and The Long Dark didn't do nearly as good, so I don't know what to equate that to. But enough of talking about my own fucking analytics. Let's get back into this. Homecoming. The carriage stops. You are the familiar gate, your bedroom window, the same one you used to climb out of at night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil, delightful greenery, and mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off of when you were little. You are home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It has been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool, as usual. Father cannot stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. You hear hurried footsteps coming from the direction of Father's study. Before you have time to take off your traveling cloak, you are crushed in Stefan's strong embrace. God, you are ugly! You know, I thought maybe you would change your hairstyle and try to look a little bit more attractive, but no, you're just... No. Your brother has grown taller and more broad-shouldered. When he detaches himself from you, you notice how harsh his features have become. He looks even more like grandfather now. That's not good. You've grown so much over the last 4 years, Fox. Just look at you. You left a low-born boy, but you've come back, Sir Brante. I'm so glad you joined us in the noble estate. You responded by giving your brother a wrapped gift. Stefan unwraps it carefully. When he sees the sword, a boyish smile appears on his stern face. It's beautiful. What a wonderful gift, brother. Maybe I should start a collection. What do you think? There's no hurry, Stefan. And now let me have a look at my prefecture's new judge. Father approaches you, his hand extended. You shake it and wrap your arms around him. Father looks older, his back is hunched and he squints. There are deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. Taking a step back, Father examines you from head to toe. What a fine posture. You had excellent teachers. I'm so proud you made it, my son. Mother comes out of the living room, leaning on Nathan's arm. You immediately see signs of the illness you read about in the letters from home. Her back is bent, her hair is gray, a thin web of wrinkles covers her face, and her complexion has lost its color. She can barely stand unassisted. Jesus. Nathan leads Mother to you. Slowly, very delicately, she embraces you. You press your face onto her shoulder, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds your shoulders and studies your face for a long time. You've been away so long, son. And how you've grown. Just a short while ago I was cradling you in my arms. You look so much like your father when he was your age. Sir Fox Brante. Nathan approaches you next. Your younger brother is now as tall as you. As tall as you are. Oh my God, what happened to you, Nathan? What are you wearing? And you gotta take care of that whatever is on your face. That is not an alright look, Nathan. Just saying. God. But he still has the same lost look in his eyes as he had when he was a boy. And here's your ne'er-do-well little brother. He hasn't changed a bit or grown an inch after all this time. He couldn't get into the seminary, so he just hangs around. Nathan lets out a heavy sigh and awkwardly puts his arms around you. I'm glad to see you back, Fox. Home just hasn't been the same without you. You hear a snort behind you. Everyone turns. At the top of the stairs stands Gloria, her arms across her chest. She is dressed as a man, and in culottes, a frock coat, and a necktie with a massive pin. The entire family waits for her to greet you. Stefan shakes his head disapprovingly. Your sister descends as if forcing herself to do it. A few steps away from you, Gloria stops and bows. Welcome to your home, Sir Brante. Your sister looks thinner and leaner than she used to. She has dark circles around her eyes as though she has been sleeping too little or crying too much. Enough pleasantries. Come on in. The table is set. Lydia has prepared a veritable feast for you. For the first time in years, the entire family is together. You can finally spend some time with another member of your family today. Both Nathan and Gloria need some fucking guidance here. Stefan could definitely use a knockdown from heaven, and Mother's on the road out. I know that's such a fucked up thing to say, but I'm more worried about Gloria at the moment. Yeah. We'll chat with Gloria. At the table, you try to ask Gloria about her life, but your sister dodges your questions. I live, I suffer, I help around the house, I know my place, just like the low-born girl is supposed to. Then keep silent, Gloria. Your brother doesn't care about the affairs of commoners anymore. Instead, why don't you tell us if you've made any useful acquaintances, Fox? Our family would benefit from some good connections right now. You're such a douche. You have to relate the 4 years you spent in Eterna. Only later that night, when the family is getting ready for bed, do you manage to have a conversation with your sister by the smoldering fireplace. You assure Gloria that your noble title will not come between you. She is still your sister. Gloria casts a wary glance at you. So, your sword and title haven't changed you after all? Giving in to her feelings at last, Gloria buries her face into your shoulder. You caress your sister's disheveled locks. I really hope you'll always be my brother, Fox. Mother, Nathan, and I, we all seem to be unwanted in this house. Sir Robert spends all his time at work, so Stefan has been running the household. It's taken a heavy toll on Mother. I can see her losing her will to live. You know, at her age, she might pass away forever and not be reborn. She had to endure a lot before she met Sir Robert, and her illness is consuming her. All Stefan cares about is getting the family ennobled by the sword. He'd sacrifice anyone for it. I'm worried the first thing he's going to do is drive me out of the house so I won't taint the Brante family name with my origins. I'm just an obstacle to him. A hindrance. You know, Fox, I'm not sure how much longer I can tolerate this injustice. Times are changing. If I'm lowborn, that doesn't mean I'm going to serve the nobles until my true death. All over the Empire, commoners are fighting for their rights. I really don't care. Gloria suddenly cuts herself short. For a long time, you sit in the silence, listening to the crackling fireplace. The Brante family is about to face some challenging times. Gloria suddenly cuts herself short. Oh, I don't know why I reread that. Yeah, it's gonna be real tough from here on out, I feel like. Your service as a judge begins today. You get dressed early in the morning, donning a brand new jacket with a cravat and hat. Cravat? What the fuck is a cravat? Alright. It's an immaculate look, if you dare say so yourself. You head to the prefecture with Father. The prefecture moved recently. It now occupies a massive new building of white sandstone in the very center of Anizote. A stone statue looms above it, the sword of the younger twin, the divine law that directs worldly judgment. All legal disputes in the province are to be resolved here. You and your father walk up the marble stairs past the commoners, merchants, and lesser nobles, all petitioners and litigants, huddled by the pillars. Well now, my son, here you shall begin your service to the Empire. In the midst of the great struggle I told you about, if you don't mind a little advice. You will serve under Sir Alborn. Follow my example and stay close to your superior. He is a human of great worth, and particularly your relative. You walk past the courtroom and up to the second floor, where judges work in their offices and receive petitioners. The corridors are many and narrow, filled with the smell of old papers and the sounds of muffled, mumbling voices and secretaries and gendarmes running to and fro. Father guides you down a corridor that ends with the door to Celeborn's office. Fox, it's time for you to stand before the prefect. Remember the friendship between our families. You knock and enter. The spacious oak-paneled office is not without decoration, yet its adornments are tasteful and elegant rather than garish. The flag of Magra bearing the silver tree hangs on the wall. Behind the imposing desk sits Baron Augustine Alborn, surrounded by papers. His face wears a focused expression you recall from his visits in the past, although it is more wrinkled than you remember. He looks up, and his face comes to life. He rises and extends a hand to you. Why, young Fox Brante, what a pleasure it is to see you again. I see for your years at the capital have turned you into a stately young man. I was told you proved yourself quite capable at the college. The city of Anazote needs worthy judges who know their craft now more than ever. Allow me to welcome you into the service for the good of the Empire. I'm sure you already know the basics of judicial work. Serving at the prefecture, however, takes more than finding your way through our laws. Although they are quite labyrinthian and contradictory, there is no denying that. Oh, I can't read today. Anyway, anywhere you look in our province, you will see friction between the estates. Old noble blood, new nobles, rich commoners, poor commoners. They all have their legal disputes. And we judges work here to make sure this pot never boils over. If we are too eager to follow the traditions of old and bow to noble privilege, the common estate will grow desperate and lose all hope for freedom. But if we openly side with the commoners, the nobles' ire will be quick to find us. And so, Judge Brante, I ask you to be wary and wise. Peace hangs by a thread in this province. Carefully consider every decision you make at court before rendering your verdict. But first, you need to get accustomed to your new position. You shall begin at once. The prefecture had already assigned you a number of legal proceedings to review and judge. Your office is ready and waiting for you, Sir Brante. The instructions are over. The work begins. You recognize your new office by the brass plate on the door reading, Sir Fox Brante, Judge. You find it rather cramped inside, yet still reasonably comfortable. The sturdy desk is a large chair of carved wood, and in front of it are several smaller chairs for petitioners. Heavy curtains hang over the window, worthy opponents for the morning light trying to shine through. Yeah, I guess it does look a bit cramped, doesn't it? There are papers on the desk already, including instructions, orders, rulings, and all sorts of prefecture paperwork. You are about to begin when you hear a sudden knock at the door. The source of the disturbance turns out to be a stout, smartly dressed nobleman. He greets you with an elegant bow you would not have expected from a sizable individual.
Sir Brante, congratulations on your first day of service. Allow me to introduce myself, Judge Carlo Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce my own name. Folkgarbage, a humble servant of the law like yourself. It is my hope that we will become fast friends. And now, if I may, a word of warning to help your work progress smoothly. As a token of our future friendship, I am aware that Sir Alborn is your immediate superior. As a loyal servant of the Empire, you will, of course, take his word as your guide. Yet there is no reason to neglect all the other judges at the prefecture, all of whom are noble men of great worth. Their guidance will most certainly aid you as a judge. It would be my pleasure, Sir Brante, to facilitate your introduction to noble judges of the prefecture as soon as possible. I see glory in your future service to the Empire, yet it certainly cannot hurt to receive reassurance and support when you might need it most. I shall not detain you any longer, but if you wish to make some valuable connections, my office is right across from your own.
Another elegant bow from the judge, Folkgraben. At the door closes. You are alone at your desk again. The scorching sun is rising over the province behind the window. Today is an important day. the day when you take your first steps in your new profession. What will you focus on today? Ask Father for advice. We could go to Father to get an inside look at prefecture affairs and see where he stands himself. That might not be bad. We'd honestly learn a lot about the prefecture if we did that. I think that might actually be the best course of action. For a while, you busy yourself with paperwork and upcoming cases until you remember that Father's office is right next to yours. He used to help you master the intricacies of the imperial law at school. Perhaps you could benefit from his experience and guidance now. You shift the case folders aside and walk out of your office. Your father is in his office, standing at the window with a deeply pensive look. The subject of his thought is in his hand, a letter bearing the Archduke's seal. He turns around and pats you on the shoulder, then asks you about your meeting with Sir Elborn. A few moments later, you ask him to give you some advice and fill you in on the situation of the prefecture. My son, you'd best be wary for now. Sir Elborn will be watching you closely, but this is certainly understandable. The prefect's views have made his position rather tenuous. Only a handful of judges at the prefecture have sided with him fully, and I am one of them. Yet even I would not dare draw the ire of those above us and risk our family's welfare. When a noble and a commoner clash in the courtroom these days, the court almost always sides with the noble. No matter the circumstances, even if the commoner is wealthy, the courts are not on his side. The judges rely upon the rule of law if, and only if, both parties hail from the common estate. Sir Elborn aims to change this little by little. He is eager to ensure the imperial law applies to all three estates in equal measure, but there are many who oppose him. From Archduke Milanitis and his loyal commander Otten to our own fellow judges. Right now, Sir Elborn enjoys the backing of Gaius Tempest, but the imperial overseer may abandon him at any moment. So here is my word of advice to you. Be careful. Help Sir Elborn bring the nobles under imperial law, but do not draw the ire of the other judges. Remember, more than just your career depends upon your verdicts. Even a single careless judgment may be enough to bring our family into disfavor. It was wise of you to ask for my advice before rendering verdicts on your own. I'm sure you will be able to tackle any issue you might encounter. After all, we have prepared you for this ever since you were a child. Your discussion continues. Father shares his own experience of carefully siding with the common estate whenever possible, while properly respecting the privileges of the nobility. Even a partial victory in such a legal dispute comes as a great surprise to any commoner. Soon the vermilion rays of the setting sun will fill Father's office. Your workday has come to an end. As you walk through the corridors with Father, you see the other judges watching you closely. There's a knowing look about them. Sir Flockgraben, your new acquaintance, is one of those judges.
Sir Brante Sr., Sir Brante Jr.
I already forgot the voice I did for this guy.
Good evening to you.
I might like this voice better.
It is a joy to see your son following in his father's footsteps, both in and out of the courtroom, I assume. I still believe you would do well to take me up on my offer. A grown man needn't cling to his father's coattails, although the decision is yours, of course.
Flockgraben follows this with a courteous farewell and a nod. Father nods to him, reservedly, keeping his emotions perfectly in check. Your first day at the prefecture has ended. A carriage is waiting outside to take you back home. That seems to have hurt our reputation as a judge. But hey, we fight for justice, and that's what we're all about. Hey, we are still gaining skills, character, personality. You started your service at the prefecture of Magara. You come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you are greeted by Stefan, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him and signing them one after another.
Son, Stefan, I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the overseer to grant us the nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your grandfather took the first steps
towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stefan was born, and now we are on the brink of becoming the El Brantes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brante family will remain noble forever, as will their descendants.
Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family's position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of the high society. The nobility is watching over our every step.
Father lays a hand on your shoulder.
Now this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it.
We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing that name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Fox.
You will have to appear before Anazote High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honor of our family, brother. You'll relate the news from Eterna to our guests and present yourself in a favorable light.
With Stefan at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations and new tableware. Delicacies are cooking in the kitchen round the clock, and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch and chains, the Brante family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering, but I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception has come. Dignified conversations, the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among the guests are many high-born, powerful people. Your father and Stefan dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. Young Fox, how splendid to see you. I've forgotten the voice for this. They're going to change a lot, guys. I can't keep track of all the voices I do for each one of these characters. I know you probably already know this based on the 8 hours or so that you've maybe watched. I don't know. It's your thing, not mine. I'm just the narrator. Young Fox, how splendid to see you. So what was your time in the capital like? You exchange pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduced them to the noble guests. Still one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvelously, darling. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Fox, please talk to me. This is Sir El Pelletier. This Sir El Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Durante, the painter. I wonder what brought him so far from the capital. It would be fabulous if he could paint our family portrait, but we should all be on canvas together. We're one big happy family after all. Wine glasses in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It is time to choose who you will spend the evening. I can either have eloquence or manipulation. I think a family portrait sounds nice. The artist is scrutinizing the portrait of your grandfather on the wall of the sitting room. You will always remember grandfather like this. His heavy, searching look, his hawkish features, his imposing body, and the cane he kept in his hands at all times. As if by pure chance, you passed by Durante and mentioned that the portrait was painted by a local artist. But surely Sir Durante's skill must be incomparably greater. Would he be interested in painting a group portrait of the entire Brante family? At first, Durante politely declines. He must head back to the capital soon, and he has no time to spare for a painting. But you remonstrate that you will pay any price, and his work will be seen in the highest society of Anazote. Durante eventually succumbs to your persuasion. You spend the night negotiating with the painter. A proper portrait will take a fair amount of time to paint, and Durante's prices are high. Convincing your family turns out to be just as challenging. Gloria will not pose in a dress or put her hair in a bun. Nathan almost has to be forced to cut his hair. Stefan insists that he must be drawn to the right of his father, with Gloria behind them. Eventually, you succeed in helping your family reach a consensus. The portrait is perfect. Your parents look dignified hand in hand. Stefan stands proudly to their right. You and the best attire are to the left of them. Gloria brings some life to the painting with her unruly hair and daring outfit. Even Nathan seems to belong there. The portrait is proudly displayed above the fireplace in the sitting room.
No one else in Magra has a portrait by Durante himself. This will emphasize our position.
For once, Gloria agrees with her elder brother. At least on this canvas, we're all one family, whatever our states may be. That's fine. You know, I feel, yeah, that increased our reputation. God, I forgot how low our reputation was. Wow, we are harmonious. We are full unity. We all love each other so much. We're still canny, and hey, our eloquence has improved as well. That was a good decision. Might be a little less rich, but you know. The Brante home has been uneasy for several months now, with fathers traveling all over the province for his judicial duties. The animosity between Stefan and Gloria has grown into a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to take his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiates his authority. Their fights rock the house on a daily basis. Eventually, after returning from his latest trip, Father gathers Stefan, Gloria, Nathan, and you in his office. His somber look portends a difficult conversation. Stefan gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side.
Children, for a long time now, our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Brante family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish.
Gloria sighs loudly. Then why am I here, Sir Robert?
She's right, this is a Brante matter.
Wait until I finish, Stefan. I am still the head of this household. If you are truly so concerned about honor, show your father some respect. It can't be helped, not all of us are noble, but now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and wealth of this family. But you, Stefan, perpetually humiliate Gloria.
Father, I'm trying to do this to put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequences of any attention Gloria might attract. Our every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for all eternity if they remember Gloria's filthy origins. And your reckless marriage to Lydia.
Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort, he remains composed.
That is so. Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them.
Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stefan wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me.
That's not it at all. You are lowborn, but you don't live by your lot. You do whatever takes your fancy. You are constantly grumbling about the orders of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions and continues continuing to write poetry?
As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent.
When will you grasp the idea that you may not argue with a nobleman? I am the heir to this family, and my word is your law.
Purple with rage, Father slams his fist on the table. It is rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner.
Hold your tongues, both of you. Let Fox speak. He has witnessed your quarrels. He should know best which of you is in the right.
Valona. Where is... Wait, we have a map. We have a map. There's a map somewhere. Map of the Empire. Valona. Valona. A city that is home to the largest monastery in the province of Magra. Founded in the commemoration of the final unity of all the lands in the Empire, the monastery of Valona is the second most popular destination for pilgrims after the Silver Tree. The monastery monks are famed throughout the Empire for their healing skills. Is that the best place, though? Why would I appeal to Nathan? I mean... Oh. Wait, will this lower our wealth? I mean, it would help her get away from Stefan. But the issue is, if we send her away and she gets into trouble, she won't be near her family. If I side with either of them, then... I think sending Gloria away and kind of just letting things simmer down between them would be best. I think this is our best option. It's gonna hurt our wealth, though. You take a conciliatory tone. You note that the tempers are running too high. Your siblings would benefit from spending some time apart. They need to cool off, then try to settle the differences. From what you hear, the town of Valona in the southern part of the province has an excellent resort for healing springs. What if Gloria took a vacation there for a month to improve her health and have some rest by the sea? Gloria shakes her head hesitantly. Are you trying to get rid of me, Fox? So I won't be in your way? What am I supposed to do with some twins' forsaken spa? You patiently explain to Gloria that she'll be able to enjoy some reading, find inspiration in contemplating the waves, and ponder on her future. And then when she comes back, she and Stefan will calmly discuss their issues. Finally, Gloria gives in. That's beautiful. That is a perfect way to think about it. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. Oh my god, there are very few games where you can see like a short subtext of the situation, and then that subtext actually meaning what you thought it meant. Because you can see something where it's just like a phrase, and then you're like, yeah, that sounds like what I'd say, and then they say it in a totally different manner, and it's just like, that's not how I would say it, or in the fashion, or in the context that they're in. Beautiful. Love that. Gloria, go have a good day in Valona. Or trip.
A trip to Valona will be costly. I'd like to know who will pay for it.
Speaking first and foremost to your father, you argue that peace in the family is worth any expense.
The two of you should indeed spend some time away from each other. Let it be as you suggested, Fox. Gloria, start packing. Stefan, please send a note to Valona and hire a carriage for your sister.
Gloria reluctantly heads off to the coast. This trip forces the family to spend a hefty sum, but without the constant bickering of your brother and sister, the tension at home quickly dissolves. With no need to keep an eye on Gloria, Stefan devotes himself to his social life. Hey, I don't feel like that's the next step from well off. Moderate means. Even moderate means. I don't feel like that's the next step from moderate means. Alright, well, we're apparently povertish. Gloria returns surprisingly serene. After a month in Valona, her temper has mellowed for a time. She is engrossed in her own affairs and does not draw her brother's ire. Worth it. That was beautiful. That's about the best outcome that we could have hoped for. I mean, we didn't really need it to come down to so much to being poor, but the family's not going to tear itself apart. That's good. Though I could have spent some unity. We are harmonious, so it's not like a little bit of hit would do good, but I didn't want to risk the ire of either Gloria or Stefan. Not that I like Stefan in any sort of way, but you know, best to try to keep up as much as possible. It is the morning of a very sultry day, and you are back at the office. You are beginning to get used to the duties of your new profession. Father visits you on the job now, and then to Father visits you on the job now and then to see your progress and provide advice. But by now he is confident you can handle the work on your own. Today is your first case, assigned by the prefect himself. From the comfort of your chair, you go through the facts and circumstances of the case. The matter seems simple at first. Seeking some desperately needed financial gain, a noble from the less than wealthy Avila family rented out a sizable portion of his estate to a well-off commoner by the name of Basil Jung. All the rent payments are in order, and there is plenty of time left before the lease is set to expire. But the commoner built a large dye works on the estate, and then El Avila suddenly filed a case with the prefecture to evict him. The rental agreement specifically states that the commoner Jung has the right to construct any building on the land. The noble landowner, however, thinks that he has the final say on any construction since the land belongs to him. I mean, technically, if it's in writing, then yeah, he doesn't have to ask you. Should have looked at that contract beforehand. But, I mean, it doesn't hurt for you to, like, go to your landlord and be like, can I build this? I know I have the right to, but would you be fine with it? Especially when you're renting an area. That makes no sense to build something without... Yeah. Basil Jung, on the other hand, has refused to vacate the rented land since the term of the agreement has not expired. Both parties are to appear at the prefecture to hear your decision. The litigant, Sir El Avila, enters first. He is an aging noble who dresses far too colorfully for his years. He walks into your office with confidence and sits in front of you. The next man to appear is Basil Jung, not El. He's not a noble. A heavy-set man with a thick beard, clothed in an old jacket and clutching a hat. He stands by your desk and bows to you. Sir El Avila does not hesitate to speak first. Your Honor, I demand you drive this commoner Jung from my land. His dye works is a noisy, nasty, ugly building, and I refuse to have it on my property. My family already had to endure their warehouses and their filthy workers right by our own estate, but this is simply beyond the pale. Either the court says the dye works must be demolished, or I, Gustave El Avila, will do it myself. You ask Sir Avila to compose himself and tell the commoner to give his statement. Basil Jung gives his account, speaking in a deep, gruff bass.
Your Honor, it cost me all my money to build the dye works. The contract says it clear I got the right to build anything on the land during my rental period. And Sir Avila didn't say a word at first, but now he up and demands we demolish it. My family will be ruined. That's not gonna happen, I say. Sir El Avila screams at him in return, outraged by what he calls his cunning trickery. Why would I ask you? What? Is that because of my manipulation? No, I'm not gonna ask. God, all the two locked options are both dick moves. Cunning trickery. The bearded Basil Jung disagrees again and again, his pudgy finger pointing at the clause in the agreement. It is noon already. The sun is so hot, even the air itself seems to melt away. This is your first case ever. It is time to deliver your verdict. You propose a law that would grant noble landowners the right to terminate their rental agreements in court at any time. That's just a dick move. You terminate the rental agreement between the noble and El Avila and the commoner Jung. Confirm that Basil Jung had the right to construct. He did, and that's the thing. Just because it's noisy and everything, it doesn't mean that you didn't give him the rights. And if you wanted, and he's saying that you were fine with it in the beginning. So I can't say that. You deliver your verdict. As the rental agreement clearly states, Basil Jung has the right to use the aforementioned lands belonging to El Avila family until the year 1150 and construct any buildings on the aforementioned lands. Basil Jung's use of the land is not a violation of the agreement, and therefore he must not be evicted. And the dye works will remain. Any attempt to drive him off or demolish the building would constitute a breach of law. How dare you? This is my own land, and I can do whatever I want with it. It is my right. I can rent it out, and I can take it back just the same. And your puny little papers mean nothing to me. If you refuse to resolve this peacefully, Your Honor, why, I'll just put the damn dye works to the torch. You have a response to that. If Jung's property should come to harm through El Avila's actions, the nobleman will provide recompense for all damages and pay a fine to the emperor. The law of the empire is the emperor's rule. Nobles and commoners alike must obey the law in equal measure. Your words are tactful but unyielding. The nobleman has no chance. His face pale with rage, Sir El Avila spits out a goodbye through clenched teeth and walks away. Thank you so much for your just verdict, Sir Brante. I never even hoped you would protect my rights after all. Now the Direworks is gonna hit it big!
Hey! Magra gained more wealth. I kind of, yeah. The other judges soon learn of your verdict. With your very first case, you have caused quite a stir at the prefecture. Most judges would not have even deigned to hear a commoner's statement. Yet you defied noble privilege and enforced a law agreement against the noblemen. An ill omen for the other nobles. Yeah. The other judges soon learn of your verdict. With your very first case, you have caused quite a stir at the prefecture. Oh, yeah, I did it again. I can't just fucking do that to a guy. Nobody's that fucking... Oh, I guess there are people that heartless. My career is not looking good. News of your latest action spreads rapidly across Anazote. You have made many enemies during your years as a judge, and now is their chance to strike. Your career is hanging by a thread. You have to fight off accusations, denouncements, and slander just to retain your position. A quiet knock at the door interrupts your musing. The imposing figure of Judge Carlo Folkgraben solemnly floats into your office.
We hardly ever see each other these days, Brante. I have decided to pay you a visit, with the most cordial of intentions, of course. I've been hearing everywhere that things are not going well for you, so I asked myself the question, how could a man of your talents quarrel with almost all of Anazote high society? I'm sure you're simply misguided. But worry not, I will show you the way. Many judges see you as a threat. They think that your daring rulings are putting your entire prefecture in danger. Let's examine your latest case, for instance. Its outcome enraged all of the nobility of the city. But I know that you aren't what they say you are. The others need to see how much you care for your colleagues in our institution. Take my advice, Fox. Don't forget that it is a judge's job to maintain law and order among the estates. Do not to destroy it. Admit your error and reconsider at least some of your past decisions in favor of the nobility. Do this, and I assure you, society will come to see you as a respectable nobleman and wise judge once again. Do not emulate our prefect. You know that I hold Elborn in the highest esteem, but between you and me, he's on the edge of the precipice. He's dragging you down with him. Promise me you'll think that of what I said, Brante. I am only concerned about your well-being. I care about the career of a promising judge like you. Folkgraben takes a bow and leaves it as silently as he came. I wish I had that. My diplomacy is not that high. I'm not branded by dishonor. I don't have the patronage of the powerful. I don't have any relations with Gaius Tempest. I don't have enough willpower. What? Oh my god, I don't have enough willpower. I'm exhausted. I have to. Folkgraben, you reread the latest cases lost in thought. This is what has turned high society against you. Your enemies' schemes are preventing you from continuing your work. You need to find a way out of this situation. This could all come down crashing down on me if I do this. I don't think I have Iron Man on, so I can't even save. But this could lead me to true death right here. As soon as Folkgraben vanishes behind the door, you put the old cases away in the drawer and get back to work. New lawsuits, litigations, and pleas demand your attention. Your choice was made long ago. You will not give in or compromise with your conscience. Justice must be upheld. If you don't do it, who will? The consequences are not long in coming. An onslaught of complaints about denunciations comes crashing down upon you. Notable noblemen demand that Elborn throw you out of the prefecture in disgrace. The prefect comes to your defense, but he will not be able to sustain the pressure for long. The other judges simply avoid you like the plague. Upon meeting you in the hallway, Carlo Folkgraben just shakes his head solemnly and keeps walking.
You're forced to fight to keep your position. Work feels like a battlefield now, and with each passing day, your enemies close in on you. Soon they will attack, and you will have to make your last stand. Yeah, Elborn can fight the way he does because he has standing. I do not. Hey, look at that! Your work for the day is finally done. You hurry to the family home where the peace and tranquility dwell again at last. Still, you have grown used to the idea that the peace could be disturbed at any moment. As you enter, Father walks down the stairs to greet you. He smiles happily and warmly.
Fox, my dear son. You're spending so much time at work. Look, you can barely stand. You need some rest. Please stay at home with us for a while. Surely your work can wait. You've earned yourself a moment of respite.
Aww. You consider his words for a moment and agree. Overjoyed, Father takes your hand and leads you to the sitting room. You spend several days resting in the family home, where your troubles are distant and your family is close. They tell you their news, that you carefully share yours. You spend the evenings together on the porch just like in the good old days, listening to Father's stories about your family's history, sharing laughter over memories of childhood. It is late now. Cicadas buzz quietly in the garden. The windows of the bedrooms glow with a warm light. You recline in a wicker chair with a glass of good wine. There's no place like home. Oh, you know, the unity was worth it. The unity was worth it. Look at this shit. And Father loves us. He couldn't love us anymore if he tried. That's all us. And Mother loves us just as much. Look at that. Everybody loves me. Oh my god, we got 10 willpower. 10. Look at that shit. Two powerful lords have been struggling for power in Magra for over 2 years now. The new overseer of the province, Gaius Tempest, cannot seem to rein in the obstinate spirit of Archduke Tarquinius Milanitis. Unwilling to accept that he is no longer the overseer of Magra, the Archduke still stubbornly continues to assert his right to rule the province. Most of the Magran gentry who swore allegiance to him generations ago remain loyal to him even now. Gaius Tempest has publicly demanded that the Archduke recognize the overseer's rule as legitimate.
I am the voice.
I am the voice and the will of the Emperor Uther II in the province of Magra. All lands, deeds, and titles notwithstanding, Archduke Milanitis must obey his sovereign's will and heed his decree. I hereby extend to the Archduke an offer of peace. Should the Archduke cease his insubordination, his lands, deeds, and titles shall remain his own. The Archduke's response to the overseer is openly defiant.
Since the days of yore, the land of Magra has belonged to the Milanitis dynasty. We are part of the empire, and we are the emperor's loyal servants. However, our dynasty will not stand for such intrusion upon our lawful rights and privileges. Never before has an archduke been stripped of his right to represent the emperor's rule in his own province. So do not forget, Sir Overseer, that the highest noble families of Magra have sworn fealty to me alone.
Neither the Archduke nor the Overseer will relent, but both are too powerful to be readily disposed of. The bad blood between the two Archnians has festered for too long, and the common people have begun to pay the price for their strife. Stripped of the Overseer's tax privileges, the Archduke Milanitis has decided to impose his own levy upon the citizens and villagers of Magra. The commoners are now forced to pay taxes twice, first to the Overseer and then to the Archduke. This double burden is too much for the common people of Magra to bear. Many have refused the second tax outright as a lawless measure. But the Imperial Legion, led by young Dorius Otten, is ruthless. Eagerly and without mercy, the Legion soldiers collect the Archduke's due in the cities and villages alike. Oh boy. This last year has been an ordeal for your family. The pains taken to be ennobled by the sword, the close attention of the city aristocracy, and the squabbles between Stefan and Gloria. Tonight, your preoccupied father has gathered the entire family around the table in the backyard. The sun has almost set, and there is a soft breeze. But instead of a meal in the open air, you are going to attend a family meeting. In the middle of the table, you see an open gilded box. It is full of jewels.
Archduke Milonitis himself has bestowed this gift upon us. It is a surprise indeed. I thought you all had a right to know.
Father unfolds the letters laying beside the box.
Sir Robert Brante, I bestow this precious box upon you and your family as a symbol of the care in which I treat the people of my province. Pray accept this gift and remember with whom the loyalty of the true nobles of Magra lies. Archduke of Magra, Tarquinius of the Milonitis.
The family stares in amazement at the jewels sparkling in the last rays of sunshine. Rage.
It's worth quite a fortune, but the Archduke is fully aware that I am on the side of the Prefect Alborn and Overseer Gaius Tempest. Could he really expect our loyalty to be bought so brazenly? On the other hand, the Archduke is not demanding anything of us, and our family has borne a lot of expenses recently. Father, no one is forcing you to side with Milonitis. Who are we in comparison to an Archduke anyway? We must not anger him by refusing his gift. The jewels are certainly welcome. They are worthy of being shared with the best families of Anazote. They will pave our way to the nobility of the sword.
Mother shakes her head glumly. Oh, Robert, I have a feeling this gift bodes ill. It may be an impertinence on my part, but I do not want our family to be indebted to the Archduke. Certainly not. Accepting gifts from Milonitis, he is infamous for oppressing the commoners and robbing villages blind with his taxes.
This isn't your decision, Gloria. It's a matter of our family's honor and reputation.
Please do not start bickering again. Let Fox say what he thinks we should do with this gift. You are the center of attention now. Your vote will be the deciding factor. Huh. That might be a good decision. But will we still remain indebted to... No. It does say that we accept the jewels. I think declining it would be our best option, because if we get indebted to him, it's going to be rough. But this might increase our honor. What's our honor at the moment? House of Brante. Tarnished. And we're not far off from disgraced. We're in poverty. But we still have a couple bit before we become... We have to decline. Yeah, that's me too. Looking at the family patriarch straight in the eye, you state that such a gift is not to be accepted. The Archduke will see it as an oath of allegiance to him. It would be better to provoke his anger than fall into his trap. You ask Father to send the box back at once.
Well, I suppose you're right, Fox. It is far too dangerous, not only for me, but for the entire family. I will write to the Archduke. Bring my quill. Bring me my quill. It is your decision, Father, but please consider how much we stand to lose. There are no jewels I would not renounce to keep you safe.
Mother, Nathan, and Gloria cast grateful looks at you. Even Stefan accepts Father's decision. Even Stefan accepts Father's decision after some grumbling. You spend the rest of the night around the table, resting, conversing pleasantly, and amusing yourselves. For the first time in a long while, there is nothing casting a shadow over your home. The Archduke does not deign to reply to Father's letter. No one expected otherwise. Does the Archduke count you among his enemies now, or has he forgotten about your existence? But why waste time guessing when you have a moment of peace to enjoy? There is only one disadvantage. You do not have a single coin tucked away in the family treasury. Yeah. We're already max unity, so...
Oh my god, and we got more willpower. We're not full of power.
And we're almost... Our valor is almost to, seasoned warrior. You have just completed your first year of service at the prefecture. Several days after your second year begins, there is a knock at the door. You look up from the paperwork and tell the visitor to come in. Sir Elborn's secretary slips inside quietly. The prefect has an important matter to discuss with you in his office. Augustine Elborn looks weary and aged, but he greets you with the usual characteristic warmth. You take a seat in the comfortable chair across from him. Sir Elborn asks his secretary to pour you and him some wine. Sir Brante, good to see you. I hope the judge's trade is coming easily to you now. I must admit, I've been watching your first cases closely. You have already had to resolve a rather difficult land dispute between a commoner and a noble. We will see even more litigation from this kind in our province in the future. Now it's time for you to answer an important question. In this great dispute between the two estates, where will you stand as a judge? Take a look around you. Life in the Empire as we know it is changing. It is our duty as nobles and judges to make peace between all the estates on the basis of the law. However, the prefecture faces a great hindrance in the pursuit of this goal. Many nobles are still determined to abide only by the traditions of old, especially the Arcanians. For those nobles, the only law above them is the court of honor, where noble ranks and duels decide everything. They reject the jurisdiction of the prefecture and outright defy the newer laws and regulations of the empire. This is to say of what happens when an Arcanian has a dispute with a human commoner. Some Arcanians would rather cut a human down then and there than waste time on what they see as a pointless litigation. Even though the law says that all the Emperor's subjects have the right to a fair and just trial. One of the most flagrant violators of the law is Doris Otten, the commander of our province's military. You've encountered him before, haven't you? The Arcanian noble is a notorious duelist. Anyone who crosses his path risks insulting his honor. His sword has ended the lives of many human nobles, not to mention all the commoners who have been unlucky enough to run afoul of him when he was bored. Surely you realize, Brante, that we are the only ones who can protect those people. The low-born lot forbids a commoner to arm himself, and even those who would rather defy their lot and have no chance against Doris Otten, one of the most skilled Arcanian swordmasters. Otten cannot be allowed to commit murder with impunity. We have to stop him and all the others who act as he does. Imperial law must prevail over their barbarous traditions. But as of now, I have no authority to put Otten on trial. Our province still abides by the old traditions, and humans are powerless against the dynastic power of the Arcanian aristocracy. Putting an Arcanian on trial for his crimes would be unthinkable at best. We have to work gradually to change this, Brante. I need you as an ally. What we have to do is strengthen the power of the imperial law in Magra so that eventually everyone will respect the law, from humble beggars to highborn Arcanians. We must show everyone that the law is not a noble instrument of oppression against the common folk. Like the divine law, the imperial law must stand above all, with no regard for birth, rank, or title. This is why I have decided to address you today, Sir Fox Brante. Side with the law, side with your father and myself. Side with justice in every case, always. No matter who stands trial before you, be they lowly commoner or noble elite, with enough precedence, we will put an end to highborn tyranny and ensure that the law is respected throughout the province. But I must warn you, even here at the prefecture, I am not all-powerful. Many judges oppose my point of view, not openly, at least not yet, but I am certain they will work against us in the shadows. Now, Brante, what is your answer? Are you ready to side with me and change our province for the better? Are you prepared to support me against the high-handed gentry and defend the common folk from likes of Doris Otten? Yeah, I'm gonna side with you, dude. You're fucking awesome. I've already pissed off all the judges, so might as well go on even further. You nod energetically, determined to support Elborn and bring nobles and Arcanians under the rule of imperial law. You realize the risks, but for the future of the Empire and his subjects, you are willing to face them. You seal the promise with a handshake. The prefect leans back in his big chair and points at glasses full of wine. I never doubted you, Brante. With your potential and your youthful zeal, nothing will stop us. And now a toast to the triumph of law in Magra. Your glasses clink melodically. The prefect takes a sip, then puts the glass down to instruct you further. Remember to be cautious. Between the powerful nobles and many other judges at the prefecture, there will be no shortage of enemies on this path. There will be times when I will be unable to help you. My own position is too unstable as it is. So please, do not draw too much of their ire. Letting their wrath reach you is the last thing I want. Last but not least, we mustn't be hasty. If we move too fast and enforce the law against the nobles too soon, they might take up the swords as they have before. We have to prevent an uprising and avert bloodshed. At all times, be just, but also wise and alert. I'm glad to see you on the side of justice. I'm counting on you, and you can count on me in return, Fox Brante. May luck be with you in the service in the Empire. You return to your office, your desk covered with endless paperwork as always. At first glance, nothing has changed, but now you realize the great and important cause working quietly behind your daily grind. Deep in thought, you sit at the desk once again. With fate, what fate awaits you in the service of this cause? The promise. Look at that. +2. Man, he likes us. A promise to Elborn. Night is falling over Anazote. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day of work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting on their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood play, the remnants of the old wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you are not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eyes. It is Thomas.
Now that's a surprise. Hi, Brante. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town.
Your childhood friend puts his arms around you.
Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining the order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat, remember the old days.
Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face is becoming sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle.
I should warn you though, Fox. I ain't the best company nowadays. I managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand.
The smile on his face starts to fade. I'm gonna have dinner with Thomas.
Fuck the haters.
You give Thomas your hand. You shake your hands firmly.
So you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante. That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then.
You go to the tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anazote. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, quarrels between your elder brother and sister, and your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern.
Sounds like you've had some tough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa always in his workshop and my ma's always doing chores. But look at me. I came home a service-class nobleman, although it just doesn't bring me much joy anymore.
Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice.
Well, I'm a captain of the Magran Legion now. And who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otten. That's right, I serve under the very same Archnean whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna. And you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are gonna end real bad. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order on uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long. Obviously, if only you knew how sick I am of them barracks, Fox. I've thought about starting a family. My mom keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's high time I got hitched.
It is completely dark and you're still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas through your home neighborhood, you can keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family's homes, just as you used to all those years ago.
Bye, Brante. I hardly ever come to Anazote these days. Our battalion is always on the march all over the province, but twins willing, we'll see each other again real soon.
You advise your friend to safeguard his every life.
Ooh. Oh my god, we have so much willpower, we are prepared for anything.
Yeah, this is where all the good, the moral decisions just come back to bite you. Because Anazote is corrupt. Your first year at the prefecture has come to an end. You are not a young student anymore. You know that a judge's trade means so much more than knowing the law and carrying it out. Resolving a litigation of any importance requires striking a balance between the code of law, high society's opinion, and the whims of the provincial powers that be. Your second year is beginning, and it feels much tougher already. Trampled by the nobles, the commoners seek help, and so they turn to the law. They turn to you. A carriage takes you through the Silver District of Anazote. It is early morning, and you have just received a letter bearing the seal of the city hall. Remy El Verman, the magistrate of Magra himself, wishes to see you at once. The mere sight of the magistrate's invitation is enough to make you scowl. This is no doubt about your newest case regarding the Quorum Gazette, which may spell trouble for everyone involved. A provincial legislature, the Lesser Quorum, governs the volume of the distribution of taxes in Magra. After a new law created by the Emperor's own brother Cornelius Tempest several years ago, commoners of considerable wealth are granted representation in the Quorum on par with the nobility, thus forming the Lesser Quorum. Hi, hon. Now the representatives of the lowly estate have founded a newspaper of their own, and the Quorum Gazette, distributed all across Anazote, fervently argues for the commoners' rights in provincial governance. The man behind the newspaper is Mayor Egmont, a well-off industrialist and owner of several silver mines, and it was his article and demands that brought about this litigation. We've heard this name before, haven't we? Oh. You take out a newspaper and read Egmont's article printed within. It addresses Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest directly.
We demand that Overseer Gaius Tempest cease his habitual disregard for our meetings. From the Emperor Uther II, we received the lawful right to assemble and sit in the Lesser Quorum, and we say to the Overseer, our voice must be heard, our message must be accepted.
The carriage stops in a square by a luxurious building. This is the city hall where imperial officials manage all domestic and economic matters for... oh my god. Deep breath. Been reading way too much. This is the city hall where imperial officials manage all domestic and economic matters of Anazote. You are escorted up a long winding staircase to the door of the magistrate's office. You now stand before Remy El Verman. The magistrate maintains a haughty bearing in spite of his venerable age. His face bears the sharp, proud features so common among the old aristocracy.
Ah, yes, Sir Judge. You are from the Brante family, I believe? I appreciate your prompt arrival. I'd rather not waste your time and get right down to business. The matter for which I called you here is urgent indeed. You are judging the case against the newspaper by the Lesser Quorum, are you not? I've had a torrent of complaints against it from the most venerable members of the Quorum. They say Mayor Egmont has insulted Gaius Tempest, our overseer and Ocnean from the Emperor's own great dynasty, and I say they're absolutely right. The Empire gave those uppity commoners a hand in managing the province's very well-being, which is already a violation of their lowly lot. But no, that wasn't enough for them, it seems. You earned the mantle only recently, Sir Brante, but you must realize that this is an affront to the honor of the entire nobility. I expect you to do your duty as a judge and immediately find a pretext for shutting down their pathetic gazette. Elborn, your prefect might think otherwise. However, Sir Brante, if you exercise enough wisdom and cunning, I am certain you will realize which position is more beneficial to you. With your youth and potential, it'll do you good to have powerful friends on your side. I'm sure you will reach the only appropriate and just verdict when closing this case. And I hope you you will be duly judicious from now. For now, farewell.
You return to the prefecture lost in thought. Sir Elverman is right. The word is all it will take to shut down the Lesser Quorum's newspaper down. As a judge and a nobleman, you do not even need a reason. The people running the Gazette are mere commoners, no matter how wealthy they might be. There was no breach of law, however. Mayor Egmont's article simply requested that the Overseer Magra hear that the Lesser Quorum has to say. You can reject the nobility's complaints and thus show the commoners that they may rely on the prefecture's justice, but Sir Elvermen and many fellow judges will be outraged. Father learns that the case has been assigned to you. He visits you and offers you some advice.
You're in quite a predicament now, son. If you try to appease one party, the other will be furious. Wouldn't you rather see if there's any way to make peace between them? We could host a party at our estate and invite both Mayor Egmont and the noble elders from the quorum. If you are successful at diffusing their quarrel, no one would object if you decided to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. Even Elverman won't be against it if the nobles stop complaining. However, Father is not your only visitor of note today. Shortly after the door closes behind him, the familiar face of George Carlo Falkgraben appears in your office. He looks around cautiously before speaking his mind. I hear you've been ordered to deal with that newspaper run by wealthy commoners. It's a complicated case indeed. If you ask me, work like that deserves to be rewarded. Why not make the most of it? You are quite close with the prefect of Bourne, are you not? Almost related, as it were. What if you were to shut down that paper and seize the printing press? All it would take is Sir Prefect's signature. And my friends among the quorum nobles, why, they would use that gazette, could use a gazette of their own. I would be delighted to help you put that printing press in good hands. Just think of it. You would shut down a subversive periodical and help our esteemed nobles spread their message, all while earning a lucrative reward for your efforts. It's quite a coup, really. Everyone wins. Do think on it, Brante. I don't like you. He leaves and you are left alone in your office to deliberate. If you decide to shut down the Gazette, how far should you go? And if you choose to legitimize the periodical, how will you go about it? You host a party to help Egmont and the Quorum nobles make peace. This allows you to legitimize the Quorum Gazette. Alright. Scheming. Gross. Gross. Ugh. Do not show down the Gazette. There are a lot of typos that I'm starting to see. I feel like the more the game goes on, the more typos I see. Because I can only assume that means they meant to say shut down. But we're going to legitimize it. You spend several days scheduling audiences, exchanging greetings, and presenting invitations to the senior nobles of Anazote. You have to pull all the strings you have to and muster all the knowledge of Anazote high society, to say nothing of the family's funds you spend throwing a suitable part. I didn't think about that. I didn't think that the party would come out of my own pocket. Ooh, that's an ouchie. After much effort, both the nobles and the commoners from the Lesser Quorum have gathered together at your family's estate at last. Mayor Egmont, owner of the Quorum Gazette, has accepted your invitation as well. The nobles are clearly vexed at having to tolerate the commoners' presence, yet they maintain the decorum etiquette demands. You tactfully take advantage of the situation and begin a negotiation. You inform the esteemed gathering that you are the judge handling the case of the Quorum Gazette. In your opinion, a periodical for the legislature is a most useful initiative, but only if the entirety of the Lesser Quorum shows support of the Quorum Gazette, and only if the Gazette represents the opinions of all its members, including commoners and nobles alike. Your words are met with a flurry of resentful shouting, disputing voices. People start to argue. Sometime later, the Gazette owner, Mayor Egmont, takes a turn to speak. He looks almost like a nobleman. Egmont is well groomed and wears the expensive clothing only a wealthy industrialist could afford. Nevertheless, his rough manner of speaking and boorish posture betray his humble origins. I do say there's some truth in what you're saying, Sir Brante. We did begin the Gazette without asking the noble sirs for their opinion. Still, if they they let us have our articles printed, I suppose we'll agree to publish their opinions as well.
This leads to another fervent debate. Some nobles reject sharing a periodical with the lowborn, while the more obstinate commoners of the Corn insist they already have the right to publish the Gazette on their own. It takes you no small amount of time and negotiation to bring both sides to an agreement.
It's settled then. As the owner of the Corn Gazette, I pronounce it the official and legitimate newsletter of the Lesser Corn, and the noble sirs are invited to publish their articles on the state of affairs in our province.
Industrialists and merchants surround you and shower you with praise as a skillful negotiator. Tonight you defended more than a newspaper. You stood up for the entire common estate of the province. Father keeps his distance from the most of the party, but once matters are settled, he pats you on the shoulder.
Excellent work, my son. You chose the path of justice while staying on the good side with powerful nobility. Even magistratal vermin won't hold this against you. Your career at the prefecture will surely flourish. Let's just hope your notoriety as a protector of the common folk won't harm you in the future.
Yes! Yes! Oh. Oh! The night is over. One by one, the esteemed guests leave the Brante estate, the family home you know so well. You never thought the affairs of the entire province would be one day decided within these familiar walls. The night is over. No, keep doing that. Ooh. That's fine.
We have so much power. We are full of power.
Yay. We're kind of teetering on the edge with our career and financial situation, but we'll make it out. Today is a big day for the Brante family, the day your family line started, the day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family crypt to keep the vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously underneath his breath. All the while, the heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it.
Lydia, I beg you, stay home.
I don't know why I can't remember his voice.
You are far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind to stay with your mother since you cannot join us anyway?
Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze, but at that moment your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth.
I'm not late, am I?
I don't know why with that voice. Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan eyes his youngest brother coldly.
I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoner's lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father Fox, it's time to go. Let's go.
Ugh. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfathers 90 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long decayed remains of Gregor Brante. Why is this guy still affecting our family? Like, what the fuck? You take your place around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with your own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear that painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber.
It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission.
Isn't fulfilled with two L's?
Remember, as long as I'm in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the Empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever.
God, this is annoying. Why are we talking to this? I thought we were rid of him. I thought when he died, that was the end of him. I thought his heart attack was going to be it. Nothing more of the man. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of Gregor. I mean, they did a good job of making a character that you could hate so much, that you could be so overjoyed when he kicked the bucket. He really is just the worst.
But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family, the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will?
Father rises from his knees and makes his way towards grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way.
Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family.
Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Oh my god. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voices of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Blood type. Oh yeah. I'm gonna side with father. You block Stefan's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante, and so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that is part of the noble lot to acknowledge an honor of seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stefan tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark you can see his face twitch.
Brother, you do not understand. I'm not defying father's seniority, but I am the man who bears this duty to our grandfather. I cannot remain a mere witness while our future of our blood tide runs through our fingers.
You resolutely push your brother to one side. Whether he wants it or not, he will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches his grandfather's tomb.
So it's you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? Stefan is right. I have not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it would be my grandson.
Stefan clenches his fists and whispers something to himself. I am doing my utmost, father. We are closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The overseer looks upon us with favor. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true.
This must be your dream too, Robert. But you still cater to your foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish on the Brante name. My name. Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last. Get rid of that trollop Gloria and devote yourself to your true family. Otherwise you will lead our family to shame and ruin.
Father hesitates for a moment. No, father, this is impossible, even if I must defy your will. I am responsible for Gloria, my honor, and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this, or keep fighting me for all eternity. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm, but then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt.
Stefan! You are the heir of this family. Your duty, my blood, to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness.
Stefan is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice.
But Gloria, I can't.
Stefan checks himself.
I will do my duty to the family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it.
The crypt is completely silenced once more. You are alone again. You see tears glistening on Stefan's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. Father... Why did I lose willpower? He didn't say that was going to cost willpower? Fuck you! Though any interaction with Gregor would cost willpower, so I kind of understand it. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that Magran authorities both enforce and obey the imperial law. What's the use of the imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any nobleman who gets on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but that does not mean they can defy the emperor's will. Sir Alborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law of Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not all be equal in its eyes, but even the nobles and the clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumors about the secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Lennart, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, supports Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favor. The twins themselves entrust the noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for the very reason that the imperial law exists. It is to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the empire. Man, the commoners are almost in power. Why is it a reign of terror? So there's a point too far if you put the commoners in charge. Right. Oh. How long have we been streaming here? About an hour and a half. We can go a little longer. It is another day at the prefecture. The secretary peeks into your office and with a message from the prefect. There is a new case he wishes you to handle. You put away your quill and walk to Sir Elborn's office. To your surprise, he happens to have another visitor already. There is a graceful figure sitting across your immediate supervisor, none other than Octavia Milanitis. After all the times you have met her in the capital, you expected the Archduke's daughter to be brilliantly, lavishly dressed, but her appearance today is modest and formal. With a high-necked dress and a strict bun, however, her demure attire only serves to emphasize her role as a distinguished visitor to the prefecture. You bow to the prefect and the noble Arcanian lady. Octavia offers you a curt greeting that returns to the conversation you have interrupted. This matter can brook no delay, Baron Elborn. The young judge may well wait outside. Nonetheless, Sir Elborn insists that you come in and take a seat. Worry not, Brante. You aren't interrupting at all. Lady Milanitis, I was scheduled to meet with Sir Brante at this very hour. I regret to inform you that your visit was perhaps somewhat unfortunately timed. Octavia rises from the soft, high-backed chair. The young Arcanian lady now stands tall, elegant, and indignant. You are out of line, Sir Elborn. Oh, I should probably sound more outraged. You are out of line, Sir Elborn. Archduke Milanitis has graced you with a representative from his dynasty, and you will listen to what I have to say this instant. The Archduke has expressed concern over your manner of governance at the prefecture, and have always been headstrong and eager to infringe upon the freedoms of your own noble estate. But now it appears you find it acceptable to conduct proceedings against your own loyal subjects. Our dynasty has already seen many loyal nobles of the sword arrested and faced with punishment in the court. Where will this lead? Do you mean to enforce your lowly laws against us Arcanians? Do not forget that those laws were written to keep lowborn humans in check. Our lives have always been governed by noble honor and tradition, as well as the blood tide that is our heritage. Our only justice is the course of honor. The only rule above us is that of our sovereign, the Emperor and the twins. Our only duty is our kin and our forefathers. My ancestor Char Melanitis himself granted the boon of nobility to you humans. It would be most unwise to make me regret this decision of old. In the name of Archduke Melanitis, I demand that you and all proceedings against our subjects at once. Sir Alborn acknowledges Lady Octavia's vehement speech with a calm smile and nothing else. He shows no trepidation, no tremor, no fear, even though the lady across from him represents one of the Empire's mightiest dynasties. Lady Melanitis. I think I need to stop. I'm losing all the voices. My throat is not having a good time, and I'm starting to lose all my energy. So I think this is where I'm going to leave this stream, guys. Thank you so much if you tuned into the stream, and thank you for watching in the future if you did. But until next time, guys, this is your favorite Green Fox signing off. See ya.